It's been a couple of months since the last video. I am aware I am not the most prolific when it comes to pumping out film after film, but there's been a reason. Part of it is what you see around you here, the building of this new facility to enable me to do more voice work. So if you're looking for a voiceover artist for explainer films, etc., shameless plug. I've also been on some travels to make a documentary about a fascinating story in the Gambia. That one is a bit hush-hush in terms of storyline, but I did get a chance to make a travel vlog, which I may add a little more to when I return in the next couple of months to finish the work. Meantime, interesting feedback to the film that I made about switching from Canon 5D4s to the Fujifilm X-T3, and so this film is about two things really. It's a follow-up to one comment that was mooted about being a wedding photographer, and I thought it would seem appropriate to share a wedding shot entirely on the X-T3. So let's get to the comments first. I had no idea that raising your head above the parapet could and would release such angst, both personally and in terms of brand. I said in the first film that Fujifilm does seem to be a Marmite brand for some folk, and boy, was that borne out in the comments received. But let me highlight one. And to be fair, it's not one that I really took very seriously, though I did pin it just to see what kind of reactions other folk may have to his rather facetious comment. "Who cares what you think?" he mused. "You shoot weddings, the lowest form of photography." Now, off the bat, I know this character was aiming for reaction. It's the reason trolling happens. And when people do say such things, it's pretty much said by people who have no real creativity of their own, save the ability, it's certainly not a skill, to write hurtful and ill-thought-out comments next to videos. C'est la vie. John, though, you gave us all a laugh at least, and it did raise a few interesting thoughts within the comments, so you kind of did us a favour. Heard from Facundo Santana, who I've mentioned before, a top wedding photographer based in Argentina. He wrote back in response, "Wedding photographers are good at what they do. They need to grab the moment. They can't mess up. They can't be lazy. They need to get in there, quickly understand the light." I'm paraphrasing slightly. Wedding photographers are the new photojournalists of our time. Facundo, I thought that was certainly a well-made point, because I think many photographers struggle with the concept of being a wedding photographer. There are plenty of shooters I know from this genre who struggle a little to come to terms with shooting weddings, and I don't know why, although I understand the outside perception plays a large role in that. I mean, look at celeb weddings. Often they're shot by named shooters from, say the fashion world, and when you look back at the results, they're technically super, but the magic ingredient of a narrative, that's often missing. The pose shots have been done and printed, but where's the life in the story, the emotion, the very reason you're having this huge life event photographed? It's interesting to me how many qualified editorial photojournalists have picked up the wedding baton. One of my bezies, as they say down under, shot weddings after a career photographing conflict and war. Let me show you some of his images as you listen back to a short snippet of a phone call that we shared on the subject only a week or so ago.
Part of the problem is one of perception of hierarchy, isn't it? Is what I do is so much better than what somebody else does, or documentary photography is so much higher and more deserving of any other photography, versa. But it's not. It's any photography, I believe, done well and done with passion and done with heart and integrity and all those kind of great things we all kind of strive for, is worth it. It really is, and it's who is anybody, and again, not I'm not pointing this directly at the chap who made the comment, but I think anybody, who are they to kind of judge the value of any type of photography? I think we all like to think that what we do is something special, but actually, at the end of the day, all it is an image, and it's either a print or it's something online or whatever, and it's that's all it is. But what's also important is the value that each person places on that image. And if you think of all the weddings that you will have done, and I've done weddings as well, that when people see those images and the value that they put on them, I don't think any of those people would think, well, that's the lowest form of photography. would they?
As Giles suggested, being a wedding photographer may carry the prefix of the word wedding, which some photographers grapple with, mainly down to that age-old idea of the cliché rain-coated photographer lining people up for 2 hours and barking instructions military style in the rain. But make no mistake, it's real, honest, photographic work. And if you're the storytelling type, then that ability to show context, shoot fashion to a degree, mark and record detail, capture real emotion, and then produce from that a collection of images that don't necessarily follow formula, but have originality, compassion, empathy, and life. Well, that's the kind of photographer that can hold his or her own in any photographic field. I think it's important to get that out there for those that are both new to the scene, and equally those who shoot weddings but feel this strange socially imposed professional disconnect by other genres that are often wrongly perceived to be somehow looking down upon the, I would say, privileged position of photographing a wedding event in whatever country or culture. Quick extra stop press. New Year sees a new podcast. I'm going to be recording this with a fellow Fujifilm photographer, though whilst I'm an enthusiastic professional brand user, I'm going to be joined by a co-presenter who holds an ambassadorial role for Fujifilm. The reason for telling you now is that a large portion of the show is going to be dedicated to your questions and your thoughts. So if you want to take part, leave some questions in the comments below with the prefix podcast, and we'll get busy with those with the new podcast coming soon. Right, time to share. I've spent a couple of months now with this camera as my main body, the Fujifilm X-T3, and my findings, it's a solid beast. Hardy. Now I treat my kit well, things get jostled and bumped when you're shooting weddings. It's fast to focus. It feels much more brisk than the X-T2 before it. Is the color tech as good as Canon's? Maybe not. And I know there is a mirrorless solution now there. I don't want to go down that whole rabbit hole, but I thought a few tricks were missed under the hood, which were an established brand with benchmarks set by brands such as Fujifilm, Sony, Olympus and Panasonic. I was surprised. But the form factor of this, the weight, the sheer joy of working mirrorless and seeing what you're shooting is a strong reason to love working with this. Lens choices, 16mm, 23mm, 50mm, and the 56mm, which is here, they're my go-to sets of glass, with the 1024 a choice for dance floor pre-focused material. So to sharing a wedding, I'm going to do this in the form of a photo film, a mix of sounds recorded on the day by way of small microphone units such as Rhodes F1, links below again, and still photographs made on the day as well. All the images are made on the X-T3, processed afterwards in Lightroom. Ian and Lydia's wedding day.
So we did the rehearsal yesterday, and he couldn't look at me when we were saying all his words. I could just see him going all over the place, because as soon as he did, I could see him starting to well up, and I ended up choking, and I was the one who fluffed up the words, and so rather than crying, I ended up laughing. So I was like, oh God, that's what it's going to be like today.
My girl has grown into my friend, a warm, sociable, outgoing young woman, one who counts her friends from all ages and all stages of life.
For Lydia and Ian, as they begin their married life together, strengthen their love and help them build a home filled with happiness.
On February the 18th, 2015, my life was heading towards living my life in the south of Spain, something that most people would dream about, really, in Andalusia, one of the most beautiful parts of the world. However, on the 19th of February that year, I sent a message via Facebook to Lydia, who was in London at that time. Our lives were, on the cover of it, so very different, but in some ways so very similar. I believe that day changed both of our lives forever.
Lydia and Ian, in marriage, never, ever jump to conclusions. Talk things out. Communicate with each other. And I've found in my life that good communications is of the utmost importance.
Mum, you are my rock and my true inspiration. You are so caring, kind and thoughtful, always making sure that everything is okay and making sure that you can help wherever you can. You have been through everything with me, Whatever life has thrown at me, you have been there. I am honoured to have you walk me down the aisle today, and I love you more than words can express.
We found love long distance and made it work, which I think says a lot about our relationship. And as Reverend John spoke earlier about communication and the importance of such, we had to find ways to make communication really work, and that's something that we still hold dearly as part of our relationship.
Happy, the husband of a really good wife. The number of his days will be doubled.
Love takes no pleasure in other people's sins, but delights in the truth.
Ian, are you resolved to take Lydia to be your wife, to love her, comfort her, honour and protect her, and forsaking all others, to be faithful to her as long as you both shall live?
I am.
I am.
Not yet.
Oh. I'm thinking.
You're keen.
I do.
What God has joined together, let no one put asunder. Let us bless the Lord, everybody.
Thanks be to God.
Well, they are now husband and wife. Let's give them a big sound.
To my best friend and now husband, Ian. Thank you for writing to me over 2 years ago. It has been an epic journey, full of life's ups and downs, especially in the last 11 months. It has been an honour and a privilege to stand here today as your wife.
My advice for the future: you both are good communicators. Keep reading the signs and talking to each other and believing in good. I love Lydia to the bottom of my soul, but I'm not blind to the fact that you share a love that will sustain her beyond that.
Right then, Lydia. So what about all this stuff in your wardrobe? Even the school tie. Can I talk about all that? No? Okay. All that stuff in the other bedroom wardrobe. The prom dresses. Ah, the loft. Plenty of stuff. Even junior school stuff. All this reminds me of the film where Rod Snyder said to the captain, "We need a bigger boat." Ian, you need a bigger loft because the big shark of stuff is soon coming to bite.
I know you and I haven't been together long, but the first day I saw you in over 30 years at your mum's birthday party, my tummy had butterflies and I knew my life was about to change. I'm not sure where I got this quote, but I thought it summed up our story so far. Once in a while, in the middle of an ordinary life, love gives you a fairy tale.
Life is full of surprises. Today is one of those lovely surprises.
17 flights between Spain and England in 2016, including a month together in London, before the final one-way flight in December from Spain back to London. And on a rainy 23rd of December, Lydia collected Ian from Heathrow, brought him back to Fareham, and their first dinner in the house together was fish and chips on a cardboard box because they had no table.
Lydia has put a huge amount of effort into today. Without Lydia, it wouldn't have happened. She has been the driving force behind our big day today. A massive thank you to Lydia, please, for putting her heart and soul into organising a wonderful celebration.
At the end of each day, Ian always asks me, "What is your highlight of today?" Well, my dearest beau, it simply is you. I would like to make a toast to my husband and to say these words from Mark Antony. All I need are the stars, the moon, the sea, and your hand in mine.
To Lydia and Ian, to a long life together, filled with happiness, adventure, and lots of wonderful memories. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the new Mr. and Mrs. Roper.